All right, ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling for the Culture is back not once but twice this week. And, we stand with the group Pure Ignorance. This time we bringing on the Prince himself coming up after the intro. The Wrestling Realm presents Wrestling for the Culture, where we highlight pro wrestlers and pro wrestling personalities of color. Here's your host, Brian H. Waters. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Wrestling for the Culture. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Of course, the show is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm, where you can save $20 off your SeatGeek purchase of $50 or more on the first purchase. So if you're looking to go to Montreal this weekend and go check out the Elimination Chamber, or you're looking to go to Salt Lake City to check out the All-Star Game, you can save $20. As Steve Harvey would say, big announcement too, real quick. WrestlingRealm.com is up and running, so you can get Wrestling Realm merch and you can get all types of cool stuff. And as Steve Harvey would say, now that we got that out of the way, I want to introduce my guest at this time. He is from this great place in Baltimore. He is the Prince of Ignorance. He is the one and only Prince Mackaveli. Prince, how you feeling today?
How y'all doing? I'm doing great today, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Been busy week. It's Elimination Chamber week. It's the road to WrestleMania. But the podcasting don't stop. It's a blessing to do this. So I'm excited to have you on. We've been able to chat up in person, but now to actually get to do it on a live platform, it's gonna be fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here. I seen the interview with my brother, the Don, and I was like, I gotta get on here. I got to.
Yeah, man. It's I just realized something. Oh man. I usually stream live on Twitch. And I realized
you didn't even turn it on, did you?
I clicked Facebook. But it's all good though, because the people on Facebook can watch,
All right.
And we can always rebroadcast on Twitch. We'll rebroadcast this tomorrow. So for those who usually catch us on Twitch, but we on YouTube. That's the flagship. That's the home. That's where we've been at for the past 11 years. But before we get into it, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I mean, I just had my first match back. Of course, caught the dub, so I'm feeling good. I had to put the air over to sleep, so I'm feeling great.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you're feeling great. Like I said, definitely happy that we get ready, chat it up for real. When did you decide that you wanted to do this? And when was the first time you was exposed to pro wrestling?
So first time I was exposed to pro wrestling was in high school. My best friend, he had like this backyard fed, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to come join and wrestle with us?" I was like, so I tried it out, and I was like, "Oh, I actually really like this." Then we started like having the pay-per-views and just watching it, and I didn't even know about indie wrestling, so all I knew was like WWE, Impact, TNA. But then once I started getting more into it, I was like, "Oh snap, it's a lot more to this," and I fell in love with it ever since.
So you decided right after high school, like this is what you was gonna do?
Yep.
All right. And did you go to college?
No. I went straight to working.
Okay. Because I've heard, people like Adam Cole say the same thing, like, kind of like they already knew what they wanted to do instead of going to college. Like, look, I'm gonna just go, work to get and reach the dream. Was there any pushback from the family when you decided this is what you want to do?
So a little something that people don't know about me. I have a heart condition. Pulmonary valve defect. My mother hated when I started wrestling. She was like, "What if someone hits you too hard in the chest? What if this happens? What if that happens?" And I was like, "Well, if it happens, it happens." But since wrestling, my heart has gotten like so much stronger. They said, like ever since I've started getting into shape, wrestling, all of that, I've just been like 10 times healthier. So wrestling kind of saved my life.
That's amazing. So prior to working at the Ringer, my shoot job was a communication specialist at Johns Hopkins Medicine, and one of the beats I eventually I had no business with it, But because you know what, I ain't even gotta be nice no more because of mismanagement. And people decided that, like, you know, all my friends left. I had inherited, I guess it's the wrong word, but you know, I was given the cardio beat.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn a lot about that stuff. Now, what's the name of the condition, if you don't mind me asking? You said?
Pulmonary valve defect.
Okay. All right.
So
And
I
that's
have a BT, I believe it's a BT shunt in my chest.
okay. All right. So it's not ARVD where it can suddenly okay. Because we was talking about that and oh man, and his name escapes me. But the gentleman who played for the Boston Celtics, and he was on. He's from Baltimore,
Okay.
and I believe that you know he had one of those conditions, and I believe it was ARVD, and you know, but it's just like one of those things where you know you unfortunately you've seen people with it. Now you don't have to wear anything that like has to shock you, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, and that's the thing with ARVD. They said like, you know, once if they catch it, the only thing is, dude, they have to wear a device and it lets them know when the heart is about to act up, and it shocks, kind of like shocks it back, but it's
Yeah.
painful. But you,
Yeah.
in your case, working out, the training, I'm assuming dieting helped save your life. You said,
Yeah. Yes. I started taking like the gym a lot more serious last year. And
Mm,
like I said, I've had more cardio, more stamina in the ring. I've had more strength and all of that. But before that, when I was just wrestling, it just like I used to have how do I put this? Not an asthma attack, but when I was in high school, and you can, if y'all ever go to Randallstown, is a gym teacher named Mr. Hennix. He told this story to all his new students.
oh
I
yeah,
had an attack because we were doing the pacer test where you run back into full,
mm-hmm.
and it was to the point where my heart was beating out my chest. I couldn't breathe, and I passed out. Um, and so no one knew about my heart condition. So they the rumor went around was, oh yeah, Chris had a heart attack and died in school.
Oh wow,
And but it was like after that moment, I was like, dang, something has to change. And that's when I started wrestling.
wow, that's crazy, amazing. It's different. You know what I mean? Um, I wow. This is like caught me off guard. I can imagine it was scary. Real quick, shout out to Michael Dubose said, "Let's go pure ignorance." Shout out to Jermaine Every in the building. So the homies are here. Make sure y'all share this.
Appreciate it.
Use the hashtag Wrestling for the Culture. And so you went to Randallstown.
Yep.
Okay, so you did a lot of the backyard wrestling out there.
Yes, we were. And it was funny because the school knew about it, and
Okay.
they let us do it. So we were in the baseball field, football field, wherever we could go. That's where we were at.
Did you? So, how many of y'all was it, and how many of them actually transitioned into pro wrestling?
So it was about 20 of us.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say about 20 of us, and I can only say four of us are wrestling. That was the main core group that started all of it. So
Okay.
me, Chaz, Chris Idol, and Noah Idol.
Wow. Man, yeah. So yeah, that's the homies right there. You
Yep,
know.
family.
Yeah, it was. You know, me and Chaz talked about it earlier this week. His wedding. You know, a moment that was, and I was fortunate enough to be on the video team
Hmm.
and been able to, you know, shoot his wedding and stuff. Um, But so what does it mean for you to be able to do this with your friends? Like, for instance, the wrestling realm, right? We went to Black Wrestle Fest, and there was a moment when, you know, we're amongst other black wrestling podcasters and wrestlers, and I looked around and I saw like this community, but then I looked to the right and my left, and I saw the real Dwayne Allen, brother Hugh, and
Hmm.
me and Hugh been friends since 6th grade. Me and Dwayne met in college, and I'm like, I get to do this with my best friends, and it's amazing. You know, we board on brother Brandon, who's somebody I knew in high school. So it's literally like all three phases of education. So for you, what does it mean to be able, like you said, it was about 20 of y'all, but now you, Chaz, Chris, and Noah, what does it mean to be able to do this with them?
It honestly means everything because I was the first one to go. I was the first one who was like, all right, y'all, I want to try to take this serious. I want to really make something of it. And so I was the first one that went out there and really did it. And honestly, it didn't go well for me the first time that I started. I just couldn't find myself. But it was like as soon as my brother Chaz, because I was ready to quit, but he came and he was like, "Yo, nah, we're not gonna let you go out like that." And he was like, "We're gonna do it together." And he was like, "We're gonna start pure ignorance. We're gonna do this together." And it meant the world to me. I mean, we won our goal together. We started everything together. So the titles you see in the background, we won that together. We traveled together. We talk pretty much every day. When I have an idea, I'm like, all right, who should I send it to? Sending it to Chaz first. So it means the world to me. Like, that's really my brother, and I love him.
So you brought up the titles, and I'm glad you did. The moment you won them, and like you said, winning with your brother, what does that mean? Appreciate you, man.
I mean, it means everything. Like I feel like I've come so far, especially from the point of me feeling like, dang, I'm not getting the recognition that I deserve, or I'm putting everyone else over, and no one's really like treating me like the star I felt like I was. But it was like my brother believed in me. My brother was like, nah, I know what you can do, and the world needs to know what you can do. And when we won these titles, it meant everything. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an emotional person. Chaz is, you know, Chaz is definitely the emotional person. But when we won the titles, I actually did break down in tears because I was like, dang, maybe finally people will start giving me that recognition. People will start giving me that respect that I felt like I deserved for so long.
So. You sit back and I battle a lot of times when people use the F word. It's not allowed around me because I have too much respect for what y'all do. Be putting your bodies out there on the line. You know the hits hurt. I mean, I was ringside when it was Pure Ignorance versus Takeover. Nobody was letting up.
Nah, never.
And I have the footage on the hard drive. I should have put it in here, but nobody was letting up. So I hate when people use the F word. But what you described was something as real as it can get. Do you remember the moment? What it was like? You take me back to the moment when the bell sounded, when the 1, 2, 3 hit happened. Obviously, unless there was a change, more like I'm sure you knew y'all was going up that night, right? Unless they changed it on the fly. Is that okay? So
yeah, we knew.
All right. So talk about what it meant to know going in and trying not to, I guess, go home too fast versus when the moment finally happened.
So, for one, we had like really bad, like it was like the chemistry between us and this team was really off. Now, I never told them this. I always was like, oh yeah, it was a great match. But in my head, I was always like, hey, it's something that's just not right. It's something that's not going right. Like no matter what we did, it just didn't feel like our chemistry and our match chemistry was on point. Then this match happened, and it was a graffiti alley street fight. And I mean, we went to war. We brought out weapons, steel chairs. I went through a table. That was not fun. But we pretty much gave it our all. We went out there. We didn't talk about it. We just went out there and we fought, which is what we always have done. And that's exactly what Chaz told me. He was like, we're going to go out here and we're going to fight. And we're going to give it our all until we don't have anything left. And that's exactly what we did. And it was amazing. And we even got a fight forever chant and everything. I mean, I enjoyed it.
So did the chemistry get better throughout the match, or?
It was that match. That match was like, once that happened, now it's like when we face them, it's like we know how to go about facing them now because of that match. It was like, all right, now something clicked. Something in our head was like, okay, if we can just, because we ain't, like I said, we didn't talk about the match or anything. We just went out there and we was like, we're going to fight. And they was like, y'all don't want to go with us? No, we're going to go out here. We're going to fight. And ever since then, everything just clicked. And we've been fighting ever since. So,
yeah. So all right, and take me to the 1, 2, 3. because like I
So,
said, it's different. You know it's coming. You know what's gonna happen, but right before that moment, you know, it's a difference. So take me there.
so right before the 1, 2, 3, I think I was calling for Chaz to get ready for the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this point, I think the dudes we're facing, he's like 6'1", like he's tall and slinky, and the place that we're in, the roof is like right there. So the for the culture, it's the German clothesline, and
Mm-hmm.
he's six, like he's six, he's tall, like he's 6 foot. So we're about to do it. Chad spins him around. I grab him. I'm taking him up for the ride, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this fool is gonna go through the ceiling. I'm like, I already know he's about to go through the ceiling. But he didn't, surprisingly. Chaz hits him, boom. He climbs on 1, 2, 3. It was amazing. And I mean, the crowd went crazy. Even though we were like the bad guys, they went crazy for us. They were screaming fight forever. They were screaming pure ignorance, and I loved it. I loved every moment of it.
And like I said, that's I'm just thinking back, like, those moments, you know what I mean? And I remember, like, the thing is, like, I like being a fan, right? So when the beef with Takeover started, of course I knew like all the stuff that was happening, but I didn't know what was going, like, I didn't know the finish, right? And
Mm.
because I I wasn't involved in the match, but at the time, me and Boujii wasn't seeing eye to eye, so he felt the need to kind of mock me during the match. And there was that moment, like towards the end, I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is what's gonna happen." You know what I mean? Um, when you're at these shows, right, and let's say you're scouting your next opponent. No, before I get there, when you're at these shows, do you often like look at the rest of the card to see who goes up or who does it, or are you just like focused on your match and then you know watch the rest of it as a fan?
Me personally, I try to watch every match that goes on.
Hmm.
Just so I can learn. I'm always trying to learn something new. Whether it be a hold or whether it be a move, I always try to watch and see what people do. Um, in the back, usually I'm going over and watching and seeing like, okay, they're putting him over, or they're giving him a shot at this. So I always try to see like, okay, well, why is he getting this, or why is he getting that push, or why is he getting um to face the big stars. Always watch and listen and hear. That way, I know what I have to do to put me in pure ignorance in a better position. So,
Okay, one example. It's funny. It's good you say that. One example I always shout out is Desmond Wesley. I was,
Wesley.
I was about to say Desmond Xavier when he was like coming up and in MCW. There was a time at the time we was filming a documentary that never got published or whatever, but it was on Derek Frazier, and it was Derek Frazier and Ruckus against um, Wesley and his tag partner at the time, and they lost, but it was like the open one of the first two matches, and then I remember him sitting there that night in the back just watching everything, and I remember looking at you met Blizz, um and I remember looking at him, and mind you, this is like 2013. And just
Mhm.
to paint the picture, in that locker room that night was like Adam Cole, um, who else was there? Christy Hemme, rest in peace, Axel Rotten, and it was quite a few other people. But I remember he looked at it, he's like, yo, those kids going places. Because, just trying to listen,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that you said that. What does it mean for y'all to, especially being from Baltimore, where, it's not too many, when there's not too many people think about far as mainstream, right now it was like Rich Swann,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like some cities like DC, everybody always mentions Batista. At one point, I mean, you could probably say the biggest person who claimed Baltimore sort of was Stacy Keebler, even though we know
Yeah.
she was like
Kind
from
of.
Laurel. But she could have claimed DC, she claimed Baltimore. So what does it mean to, like, be out there, especially putting Baltimore on the map? You see it in your graphics, your attitude. What does it mean for you?
So for me, it means inspiring the next generation. because for me, it's like a lot of the times I get kids that run up to me, surprisingly, that are from here. And they're like, "Oh, well, where are you from?" Because I heard the announcer say you're from Baltimore. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Baltimore." They're like, "Oh my God, we came all the way from there just to, see y'all wrestle because we heard y'all were from here." And it's we don't see many people do anything like that from Baltimore. Like, and you don't. Like when I was growing up, you don't see people being different. You don't see people um, expressing who they really are. Like when me and my friends were outside wrestling in the grass, we got judged all the time, but we didn't care because we were happy. And that's what I want to do. I want to inspire the next generation to be happy, to be themselves no matter what. Like, okay, it's not the cool thing. In high school, it wasn't the cool thing to wrestle. I didn't care. I was happy. And you should be too. This is what you should do is find something that you love, find something that's your passion, and you should go out there and do it.
Talk about it. And that's the thing right there, man. Because I've been, it's well documented. People have heard the stories about, me being real about my journey and coming up and, being passionate about this. And like I said, for me, it wasn't about getting in the ring, but more so, one, just loving it. And then two, being able to jump in the media space.
Hmm.
And if you had told me this like 3 years ago, or let's say 10 years ago, when we started, it would have sounded like, okay, you just dreaming, but now I'm,
Yep.
fortunate enough to be in the position I am. And I'm always looking at like, okay, what else can I do? All
Yep.
right. Who else is out there? And I look at, if you look in sports, right? One of the things that Rachel Nichols, I think it was Rachel Nichols said, or maybe it was Ramona Shelburne, said when Kobe Bryant was coming up, he looked at her and said, "We gonna help each other out." And they were both like young in the business,
Hmm.
and we was talking about this. A lot of us wrestling podcasters were saying, I mean, yeah, we were saying like we work hand in hand with the wrestlers. Y'all
Yeah.
have a message, y'all want to get out there, y'all want to promote. We want to, have content, and it's a beautiful thing, especially in the community. You know what I mean? What does it mean when you see more black wrestlers being successful?
I love it. I love
Mhm,
it. And it makes me feel like, okay, that could be me one day. That could be pure ignorance. That could be the Dawn. That could be Noah Idol. That could be Chris Idol. Shoot, it could be the next generation that we don't know about.
mhm,
But seeing someone succeed, seeing the O'Shea's, seeing the Shane Taylors, the Ron Hunts, even the JBoujiis, seeing them succeed and push forward. Because I actually and Chad's gonna hate me for this, but I actually did get some advice from Bougie, and he
mhm,
told me because I was once again feeling like maybe I'm just not, maybe I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I don't want to take the shortcuts. Maybe and he told me, he was like, bro, you gotta talk your stuff. Stop letting people tell you who you are and be who you are.
mhm.
Talk your stuff, make the moves, and do what you gotta do. And I already know I'm gonna get message. Oh, so you talking to Bougie? Yes, I had a conversation with him, and what Chaz doesn't realize is him and Bougie are more alike than he thinks. So
For real.
they are.
Wow, that's interesting.
So
See, I got love for both of them, and as I said, I said this in the Twitter Spaces when they had a showdown. The brothers, sometimes the family, you see both of your family members on opposite sides. They got to fight. They got to fight it out. You stay out of it, and shake hands at the end. They both like, ain't gonna be no handshaking, and this, that, and the other. But you said it. They
yeah, I
more
mean
like.
they are. They more alike than what they think.
That's interesting. that's that's very interesting. As we move forward. What's this? So what is it like now? To be able to travel and do this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times there's this. Okay, there's this narrative: stay in your local area
Mhm.
until you're ready or whatever. But what did it mean to be able to step out of the state of Maryland, step out of Baltimore, and be able to do what you love?
Honestly, it means everything to me because it shows my growth. It shows my ability to not just impress the fans, but impress with management too. that the bigger companies are looking at us and they see us, and I do think they see us, but it's like it's also about taking that opportunity or taking going and doing the rides even though we might not be on the show, or going and doing the rides and going to a place and helping set up just because paying them dues. So, and that's what we did. We have to, because if we want to get anywhere, we got to show that we want it. So.
I'm glad you brought that up. What is talk about the car rides, man? Because at one time, WWE had a show called Ride Along, and I think that's the fun part about the independent side is, yeah, it's a grind, but the car rides and how so much knowledge is spent. And I know just from me being a backstage person, when I was doing backstage work with WSU and CZW and RCW way back in the day, I got a lot of knowledge just in the car rides from people like a Black G's or Mia Yim or Blizz. So what's the car rides been for you?
So when I was first starting, when I was just by myself, I got to ride with some of the people like Ruckus and because my trainer, that's his trainer. So I got to ride with some of those people like that. So they always dropped knowledge. They always gave us like advice after our matches and stuff. So it was always, it's like what is that saying? Keep your mouth closed and your ears open. There was always a moment like that where I would just be listening, learning, trying to understand, like try to get better, whatever it took. And they were always open and willing to give that advice.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me what the car rides are like now, it's normally me trying to keep Cliff up while the other two are sleeping. Yeah, so that's usually how it is right now. But yeah, back in the day, hopefully one day we'll have another legend in the car with us. I would love that.
Yeah, man, it's always dope when you can do that, or even sometimes just being in the locker room with them, or even having dinner with them. Who's been some of your mentors in the business?
So far, TJ Sykes.
Oh, shout out to TJ. He was on here well, I'm about to say earlier this year. Oh boy, last year. The months started to bleed together after a while.
But yeah, definitely TJ. TJ pretty much he goes over every one of my matches. Whether it's a tag team, whether it's just me by myself, whether it's a promo, he always is like going over my matches, telling me what I can do better, telling me even if he's like, oh well, it was a great match, I'll sit there and be like, well, nitpick, and he'll give me his nitpicks. Another great person is Alex Kane. He's very open. Like if you had like even with him being on TV and stuff, he is like a very open person, willing to help the next generation. So definitely shout out to him. I would honestly say, and honestly, Red Dog, Cliff is, though he hasn't been in long, Cliff helps out no matter what. He'll give you honest advice. And if you want to work on something, Cliff will help you every step of the way.
Yeah. Man, like you it's funny, not to say funny, watching somebody like I watched TJ. I remember the first time I seen him at RCW, and this was 2010, and immediately he grabbed my attention. I was like, wait, this dude out here coming out like Michael Jackson.
Yep.
I'm like,
red Thrillers jacket and everything.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, and when somebody can make an impression, and just watching his career go, watching him evolve. And I thought it's been amazing now to like hear, him being a mentor, because and that's the best thing about this business is being able to pass on the knowledge, learn something, pass it on, learn something, pass it on. So I think that's, real dope right there.
Yeah. Anytime I'm like having a match, or even like we used to go up to PWX in Pittsburgh. We don't go there anymore. But right before my matches, he would always tell me, grab their attention, go out there and demand it. And yeah.
How long did it take you to really understand what that means? Because I know sometimes it could be like, well, what do you mean demand it? Like, so how long did it take you to like really grasp? Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still learning. It's some days are easier than others. I'm not gonna lie about that either. Some days it clicks. I'm like, it's all about fan reaction. Like people who will go out there. Once you hit that curtain, it's like, depending on how the fans react to you. If they don't know you, they won't say nothing. But if they know you, and they like really like when we go out there for 1CW and we hit them curtains, it's amazing. The feeling, the crowd screaming our names, the fans wanting fives, the old ladies and wanting to hug us and kiss the babies. It's amazing. Like the feeling is crazy.
You remember the first time you got that recognition from a pop, whether it was being booed or being cheered?
Yes. So it was probably our first title defense against Dog Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what Chaz did. Chaz did something, and I was sitting there hyping him up. And it made the guy, it made this whole section so mad that the guy actually went to the booker and said, I ain't going to say what he said, but pretty much he said some racial slurs to get us out of there, that he ain't want us there no more. But it was crazy because it was so easy to get under his skin and so easy to push those little buttons for him to boo us. And he still comes back every day, every time we're there. He's still there. He's like, yeah, I still don't like y'all. We don't care. As long as you know that you still on that side, we over here, you can't do nothing about it.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, Chaz got a mouth on him. So
which is crazy because like outside he's like the nicest person.
Oh
and
yeah.
my daughter's favorite wrestler, yeah, that's crazy. I'm just thinking about, because what city was this?
This was Backwoods, West Virginia.
Oh goodness gracious!
Yeah.
I knew when you said first of all you said racial slurs.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, I got an idea where we're going with this. It's got to be in a few places. Y'all wasn't worried about like y'all tires that night?
I was, but at the same time, my wife was traveling with us at the time, and my wife don't play.
Okay.
So, yeah. If you think I'm bad, yeah,
say less.
ain't nothing stopping Mama Bear. You feel me? So,
yeah. Goodness gracious, man. Yeah, it's like just being able to get that reaction because like I've been in some training school sometimes, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm looking, I'm like, I don't see money in that person. I don't see in this one. And that shouldn't be that way, but when you consume so much of it, you're like, okay, what can you bring to the table? You know what I mean? And then you see like people had like their first couple of matches, and they come out, yeah, and people like, okay, so like being at EWA and y'all come out there and y'all getting a reaction, I'm happy, and to be able to see that. So
it's with that it's all about finding who you are. And I know people are gonna say it, wrestlers say it all the time. Yeah, you just gotta find who you are, It's like for me, when I first started, I was using the name Jaden Miller. I hated it. I hated the character. I was supposed to be this Hollywood superstar. It was awful. My trainer was like, "Yeah, this will work." It was.
How'd you get the name?
It was my godson's name at the time, and then it was my old backyard wrestling name. So I just fused it together. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna use this. This should be cool." And at the time, I'm thinking that's the best idea ever. And it was horrible. I had a mohawk. I was combing out the mohawk, coming out with a mirror and all that. And it wasn't me. It wasn't who I was. Like this is who I am.
Oh no! Don't internet. Man. So you froze on my end, or maybe it's me.
Are we back?
All right, there we go. But you said this is you.
Oh yeah, this is me turned to 10. This is definitely me turned to 10.
How'd you come to the name Prince Mackaveli?
I honestly think Chaz helped me. I was like, he was like, well, he says this all the time to me. Like, yeah, you're a prince. You're a prince. And you gotta take that. You gotta show them what the kind of prince you are. I was like, yeah, I sure am. And then of course Mackaveli, because we love Tupac. That's all we would listen to riding on in our car and stuff. So I was like, let's put it together.
I was gonna ask you what's on the playlist when you getting ready for big matches.
Tupac, Young Boy, who else? Joyner Lucas, Chris Brown, of course, Chris Brown. I know some people gonna look at me like, but yeah, Chris Brown, all of that.
Okay. And then before we get out of here, man, what's when you look back, what's been your your career defining moment so far? Obviously, you have a lot more to gain, a lot more to come, but what's been your career defining moment so far?
Career defining moment. I would honestly say us versus Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we really showed the world what we could do and what we were capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, it's some people I would like to call out also.
Mm.
Starting with Big Game Leroy.
Wait,
Uh,
everybody got beef with Big Game Leroy. You know, the other day, Boujii was in the store asking, did they have a Big Game Leroy? They said no. Now, what did he do? I got to figure this out.
It's nothing that he did, but right now, he is pretty much the gatekeeper, as they would call it. He is the
Oh.
gatekeeper for anywhere you want to be. And this is me calling him out right now. I don't care where, I don't care when, but me and you will have a match and you will either tap or you will go to sleep. But either way, I'm not the one waking you up. So let that be known.
It's out there so he can get the message. Prince Mackaveli wants Big Game Leroy, man. So he wow, okay. So I wanted to talk about the Pure Ignorance versus Takeover. Takeover isn't what it used to be, and we
Yeah.
know y'all been able to stay together. They haven't been. Little dissemination, but we know Chaz and Boujii still have their issues. Do you have issues still with well, we know PJ didn't come down. He for whatever
I mean,
reason.
he can get Duff too, and he can
Okay.
go to too. Me personally, I have no beef with Boujii.
Mm-hmm.
I would happily face him, face Jocko, any of them, any day of the week. But me personally, I have no beef with him. I'm a ride for my brother no matter what. At the end of the day, if he say, "Hey, we don't like him," we don't like him. But I personally have no beef with him.
That's interesting. Okay. So, all right, but you still want Jocko and Face?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Especially after that kick to the chest that Face gave me. See, everybody thinks Face is this big monster, and he's like, oh, he's so scary, and he got RIP STP on his. That don't scare me. He can get choked out too.
Okay. So we got to get that match going.
Oh yeah. Because I'm hitting the gym too. I mean, I ain't lifting up beer mugs and stuff like that. I'm hitting the gym too. So whatever he want to do, I'm with.
Face has been called out. Do you have a duffing list?
I don't have a duffing list.
Okay.
That's more Chaz thing. Me, I just like, it's something about taking the oxygen from somebody and putting them to sleep that just makes me happy. It's a little sadistic maybe, but it makes me happy. So usually, everybody wanna, oh, I'm so tough and I'm not gonna tap. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not the one waking you up.
So what would you rather, if your choice, what would you rather have? Do you get more joy in watching them tap or just them just simply fading away and
Oh,
going to
I
sleep?
like when they fade away. Go ahead and go to sleep. And once you finish, I'll make sure the referee give you a nice pillow and blanket. Because I'm out of
there. Oh man, that is good. Prince, tell people where they can find you, bro.
Well, right under here, X_Prince Mackaveli. That's all my stuff. And my Twitter, P Mackaveli. Just follow me, like some of my stuff, share some of my stuff. Go to For You Wear and grab my hoodie. Chaz and them got their own thing with their names in it. Noah got blue, Chaz got purple. But go ahead and grab you that orange PI Pure Ignorance Mackaveli hoodie, because I will be greatly appreciated.
Y'all heard what he said. For Your Wear. Shout out to the homie Blue Magic Grind. That's one of my brothers right there.
Yeah.
Y'all know my merch is over there as well for breaking through glass ceilings. But yeah, definitely go in there, go under the wrestlers. You'll see Pure Ignorance, so you'll be able to get all their merch. Make sure I love the Grand Theft Auto shirt. I gotta cop that.
Oh yeah, greatest team alive. Let them know.
Yeah, so. But man, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the time.
I thank you for the opportunity, and make sure, if any of my people in here, make sure you follow him, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all of that.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. Y'all make sure y'all follow Wrestling Realm at Wrestling Realm. Check out WrestlingRealm.com for merch, including the shirt I got on. We got the Proud Wrestling Fan shirt. We got the Raw inspired crew neck. We got a lot of new stuff on there that the real Dwayne Allen has he been in the lab cooking. So shout out to him with all the designs for that. Make sure y'all check us out on Patreon. At least $1 per month gets you exclusive content, which includes Brian H. Waters Thoughts, where I might just get on the mic and talk about something for less than 10 minutes, or I might write an article. But it also includes Wrestling Figure Wednesday, articles that Dwayne, he goes back and talks about his passion for collecting action figures and how it all started. So yeah, make sure y'all support us there. And remember, you can save $20 on SeatGeek for purchases over $50 by using the promo code Wrestling Realm. Until the next time, folks. Oh, stay tuned tonight at 8:00. Yeah, I'm getting right off and gotta drink some coffee. 8:00. The Wrestling Realm will be joined then Stephanie Hardy on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. She is doing a Black History Month celebration with collaborators. Monday it was Black Wrestling. Tuesday was Those Wrestling Girls. Tonight it's our turn. The Wrestling Realm gonna bring the shenanigans to the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. So make sure y'all check that out. Stay tuned. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do for Extreme Rules Elimination Chamber, but we'll just stay tuned. But yeah, check us out. Until the next time, folks, as the good old I'm about to say JR, but I think it's actually Tony Schiavone who used to say it. So long, everybody.